So Peter, firstly, let's get your view on this. Were you one of the people that was calling for Carrol's resignation, or were you, a fan of Carrol?
I was a big fan of Cynthia's. I think she broke a lot of traditions, and I think Anglos needed someone like her to break the barriers with the South African government, with the DMR, to get their mining rights through. I was a fan of hers. I wasn't calling for her head, but I was a bit distraught how things were going, and it really started with spending the money at the height of the commodity boom, because this was a boom like we'd never seen before. These were commodity prices like we'd never seen before. Tony Trayer was, I thought, axed unjustifiably because they said he wasn't spending enough. They said he'd miss a commodity boom. So I think Cynthia came under a lot of pressure as soon as she started to start spending money. But before you know it, she's buying shares at the top of the market. She's paying top buck for commodity properties like the Minas Rios iron ore deposit. And yeah, it was just spending too much, too fast, embarking on big capital expansion to try and turn Anglos into a growth company. And that was pretty much at the top of the cycle, and now we've seen the result. The share is down 40% from when she started, which is 6 years ago.
Do you think that one of the biggest mistakes was that when they did, go through the financial crash, they didn't cut back on these capex plans quickly enough and adjust to the new environment?
Yes, I think you're correct, Sam. I think that would have had a big effect had they been able to hold off on a lot of this capex. Because we've seen all the other big mining houses cutting back. They say they start a project today, 12 months later, that project already costs 25% more. And I've heard this for 4 years now. The equipment suppliers, the contractors, it's massive inflation inside and outside of South Africa. So yes, it's just spending too much money at the end of a commodity cycle instead of at the slump of a commodity cycle. That's when you want to start putting in the money.
Yeah. And Peter, as you say, you're a fan, but life is how life is. And of course, people, will move on now and look into who the next CEO for Anglo American will be. Susan Chabangu saying that she will call for someone who hopefully will be from South Africa. Bobby Godsoul's name is being put on the table. We've got Mick Davis from Xstrata. Of course, his name has been bandied about. And then you've got Alex Vanselo from BHP Billiton. Who do you think is likely to be the next CEO? I mean, what are your top names that you think could be right for the job?
I think the board is going to say, let's get someone pretty experienced with a pretty good track record. It was a big leap for Cynthia to come from a division of Alcan Aluminum to take over a mining house that was so spread out, so geographically diverse, product diverse. So I think the board and shareholders are going to want someone very experienced in a mining house environment and with a proper track record, a good track record. I don't think it'll be an internal appointment.
So Peter, we need some predictions from you, unfortunately.
Predictions on names?
Yeah.
Look, I would certainly try and interview Alex and Mick. And I'm sure there's 2 or 3 other people out there I can't think of right off the bat, but I think Anglos deserves an international person who's managed a conglomerate, kind of a mining Jack Welch. That's what it's needed. This is a tough business. Government underestimates how tough mining is.
Could it be someone coming from within the Anglo American staple?
You know what? I don't see what's wrong with that, but we've heard from internal sources that they're not considering anybody inside now. And I know a lot of people say Mr. Griffiths at Amplats is a prime candidate going forward, but I think they need him to sort out Amplats.
Yeah, and of course, just
so
being moved
I don't know
there.
of anyone really very strongly inside the company that's got a strong chance.
When let's talk about the company that she leaves behind, because some of the analysts, Abdul Davids, of course, standing out for me, Kagiso Asset Management, saying that she leaves behind a company with fantastic assets. Yes, they have been trying to restructure to become more of the BHP Billiton, but talk to us about the assets they have now, the projects that they have now, and will Anglo American ultimately emerge a lot stronger a few years down the line if they do take major restructuring plans now?
I don't think they have to restructure too much. Cynthia did a lot of restructuring. She cut off a lot of the tail end, the smaller commodities, the smaller businesses, the steel business, the copper business, sorry, not the copper business, the zinc business. She cleaned up the portfolio quite a bit. She focused Anglo much more on just 6 major commodities. And it's going to be hard for someone new to come in and change that. And I don't know if they want to change it. I just think she embarked on too much capital expansion for the group at the wrong end of the cycle. But it's already fairly focused, fairly restructured. It's just how are we going to get through the next few years? Are we going to cut back capex in the right places? Are we going to rev up the assets we got? Are we going to be able to find enough money to do that? And heaven forbid the commodity prices fall. If they stay up, Anglos will come through this okay. If they fall, Anglos could be under pressure.
And what is your sense as to then what commodity prices are going to do from here right now?
I can't believe where most of these commodities are at. I can't believe platinum is at $1,600, that gold's at $1,700. I definitely can't believe that the iron ore price is $120 and copper at $350. Most of these prices are double their long-term means, and the world is looking at low growth going forward. So I don't want to be a pessimist or a bear, but I think there's a better chance commodities are going to weaken from here, no matter how much money the States, China, and Europe keep printing.